Hi everyone, it's Julie Mason, and today I just want to share with you my book of the week, which is The Alchemists by Jim Ratcliff and Ursula Heath. I do remember the last name. So The Alchemist is a really interesting read. It's about the story of INEOS, one of the top 40 largest petrochemical companies in the world, which you probably have never heard of. I'm sure you've heard of BP and Shell and all of the others, but INEOS has been growing quietly under the radar. And part of the reason for that, and that's what makes this story so interesting and what a good read it is the fact that the company is owned by three people, the three directors of the company, Jim Ratcliff being the major shareholder, and then his colleagues, which are, Andy Curry and John Reese. Just had a quick look at my notes. Now, when I picked up this book, I wasn't all that sure that I was interested in reading about a petrochemical company. I mean, how far removed is that from, the services that I provide? But what I thought would be very interesting is that reading the leadership development of this company, reading the sales strategy, and finding out what their ethos was behind growing this business so rapidly. Now, what I mean by so rapidly is that INEOS is only 20 years old. It was started in 1998. So technically, I'm recording this in 2019, so that makes it 21 years old. But essentially, this book was published last year, end of last year. And they are turning over $60 billion in profit. Now, why I found this a very interesting read is that A, it's still the largest privately held company in the UK, which is phenomenal. It has the GDP of some small countries with its turnover, which is phenomenal. And when I look at the back of the book, just to give you an inkling into how fast this company grew. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the page here. I should put a bookmark in it. But this gives you an indication of what you can see here is the 20 years of milestones and what they purchased in 1988, and then through the years to today. And they have been very aggressive with their purchases and taken brave risks, not grave risks. In some cases, there was some grave moments of nail-biting tension in some of the deals that they did. But it was truly an interesting read, and I loved the ethos of the owners, their values, and how much they tied their values to the business. So for those of you who are very keen on values, I think you'd love this book. And how they brought that into the company culture as well. But also their acquisition strategy and their growth building strategy was phenomenal. Now, I am going to pick up my notes here because I jotted down their toolkit of what they do when they purchase a company. And I want to quickly run through this because, but if I could suggest, for those of you who don't want to read the book, I'll give you the synopsis. But my advice is get this book. It's got some phenomenal business lessons in it on multi-levels here. But there's 6 enduring principles in the process they use of assessing, acquiring, rewiring, and running every venture include, number 1, find orphaned or unwanted assets. So they look for raw materials that actually has some great use in the marketplace, but the asset or the orphaned asset or unwanted asset is not being properly or profitably run by its existing company. 2, focus on the fine detail of financial numbers with rigorous accounting, and they are really number crunching guys. Some of the stories in there around, how they took a failing business and turned it around with such a short amount of time into a profitable business comes down to their focus on looking at the numbers before purchase, during purchase, and after. 3rd thing is fixed costs management. That's massive. So anyone that's in manufacturing would understand they've got fixed costs. In fact, every business has some fixed costs, and how to manage that, make sure it doesn't get out of control. Number 4, they use a federated business model. Of course, they own multiple businesses now. As you saw on that graph, they've purchased lots of businesses. And so each business is a standalone business but reports to the hierarchy, which is quite interesting. But they've cut out a lot of the middleman, which is really, really cool. Well, not middleman, middle management, I should say. So they've trimmed a lot of excess, issues in the company. They've footprint maximization is number 5, and what that means in the chemical industry is maximizing capacity, which is fundamental to efficiency and profitability, goes without saying. And then they set a goal. Their 6th enduring principle, which is a large part of how they really focus intently, is 5 years to double the EBITDA. Now, what EBITDA stands for is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So all of that's a little, I have to say, out of my realm of understanding, because I am so far from being in accounting and bookkeeping and stuff that I don't really understand some of those terms, such as amortization, and my dyslexia is popping up as well. But it's an ambitious goal, and it certainly reflects on the way they manage and run their businesses afterwards. But their culture that they instill in the businesses that they take over, and still, keeping some of the staff and obviously getting rid of some of the rest, but the culture that they build up, the loyalty that they develop, the pursuit of safety in a hazardous industry area, all of this, it's just a phenomenal reading. If you're looking for a really good success story to read, highly recommend The Alchemist, the Ineos story, by Jim Ratcliff, who is one of the owners, and Ursula Heath. Fantastic read. I was left feeling really inspired, took away a few things that even I can apply to my small business, which is certainly not turning over $16 billion in turnover. But hey, I highly recommend it. It's a great read. Enjoy.